Welcome to Sleepy Time Tales. Tonight, we journey to the realms of Drakoria, Aeloria, and Eldoria. Each of these fantasy tales brings more than just adventure, they share lessons about courage, kindness, and the strength within each of us. So, get comfortable, let your imagination soar, and prepare for stories that will inspire sweet dreams and bring a little magic to bedtime. Let's begin. In the land of Drakoria, where magic flowed like the rivers and the skies were painted with the colors of the ancient spells, dragons roamed the skies, elves tended to their forests, and fairies fluttered through meadows of sparkling flowers. It was a peaceful world, a world of harmony. But there was one dragon, young and fiery, whose heart was different from all the others. His name was Zoran. From the moment he hatched, he was unlike any dragon Drakoria had ever known. His scales shimmered like the sun, a radiant gold that made him glow even in the darkest caves. But it was his heart that was truly extraordinary, it burned with a flame that no other creature could control. It was a fire that could destroy as easily as it could warm. The elders of the dragon clan feared him, and the other creatures of Drakoria avoided him. Zoran could feel the weight of their stares, their unease. He longed to be accepted, to prove that he was not a danger to anyone. Yet, no matter how hard he tried, his fiery heart would get the best of him. One fateful day, a strange visitor appeared at the dragon's peak, a wise elven sorceress named Lysandra. She had heard of the young dragon and his troubled heart, and she had come to offer him a way to control the flames within him. "You carry a great power, young Zoran," Lysandra said, her voice soft but firm. "But this power is not meant to be tamed by fear. It is meant to be guided by wisdom. I know of a place where you can find what you seek, the Heartstone. It is said to be the source of all dragon magic, a place where the flames of a dragon's heart can be made pure." Zoran's golden eyes widened. The Heartstone was a legend. No one had ever found it, and many believed it was a myth. But if there was a chance it could help him control his fiery heart, he had to try. "I'll go," Zoran said, his voice determined. "Tell me where to find it." Lysandra smiled, her ancient eyes filled with knowing. "Follow the path through the darkwood forest. Seek the 3 trials of the dragon elders, and only then will the Heartstone reveal itself. But beware, for you are not the only one searching for it." With that, Lysandra vanished into the wind, leaving Zoran with nothing but a glimmer of hope and a burning desire to prove that his heart, though fiery, was not a curse. The journey was long, and the darkwood forest was unlike any place Zoran had ever seen. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches reaching out like fingers. The air was thick with the scent of earth and magic. It was a place where few dared to venture, for it was filled with strange creatures and hidden dangers. Zoran flew above the trees, his wings slicing through the air as he searched for the path Lysandra had mentioned. The further he went, the darker the forest became. Strange whispers filled the air, and shadows seemed to move at the edge of his vision. Suddenly, a voice called out from below. "You seek the Heartstone, don't you, young dragon?" Zoran landed softly, his claws making no sound on the forest floor. From the shadows emerged a small creature, a fairy with wings that sparkled like the stars. Her name was Aeloria, and she had a mischievous gleam in her eye. "I've heard the stories," Aeloria continued. "Many have sought the Heartstone. Few have returned. You may want to turn back, little dragon." Zoran's heart burned with determination. I cannot turn back. I need the Heartstone to control my flames. Aeloria studied him for a moment, then nodded. Very well. But you should know this, the Heartstone is not given easily. It demands a sacrifice. I'm ready, Zoran said, his voice resolute. The fairy nodded again, her wings fluttering. Then let's see if you're truly ready. With a flick of her finger, the shadows around Zoran shifted, and a path appeared before him. But as he stepped forward, he was met by the first trial. The path led Zoran to a great stone cavern, where the air shimmered with heat. At the entrance stood an ancient dragon, his scales black as coal, his eyes glowing like embers. This was one of the dragon elders, a guardian of the Heartstone. Prove your worth, young dragon, the elder rumbled. You must face the trial of fire. Before Zoran could respond, the ground beneath him cracked open, and a torrent of flames surged toward him. Zoran instinctively flared his wings, and a burst of fire erupted from his chest, clashing with the flames in a fiery dance. But the flames were relentless, and Zoran struggled to keep them at bay. You are not controlling the flames, the elder said. You are merely fighting them. Zoran's heart pounded in his chest as the fire pressed closer, threatening to engulf him. He could feel the heat, the power, the wildness of his flames, and he realized the truth in the elder's words. His flames weren't something to fight, they were part of him. He needed to guide them, not control them. With a deep breath, Zoran calmed his mind and focused on the fire within. He allowed the flames to rise gently, like a slow and steady breeze. Slowly, the fire around him began to subside, responding to his calm command. The elder nodded in approval. Well done, young dragon. You have learned the first lesson. After passing the trials of the dragon elders, Zoran finally arrived at the Heartstone's resting place. It was a magnificent cavern, its walls lined with crystal formations that pulsed with light. At the center of the cavern lay the Heartstone, a glowing gem that radiated warmth and power. But Zoran could feel something else in the air, a presence, dark and cold. Not so fast, young dragon, a voice hissed. Out of the shadows emerged a figure, a dark dragon, one with scales as black as the void. His eyes burned with malevolent fire. I am the one who guards the Heartstone, the dark dragon growled. And you will not have it. Zoran stood tall, his wings unfurled. He knew what he had to do. The fire in his heart was not just for destruction, it was also for protection. He could use his flames to defend the Heartstone, to keep the balance of Drakoria intact. The battle was fierce, with fire clashing against fire, light battling darkness. But Zoran remembered the lessons he had learned, to guide the fire, not fight it. With one final burst of light, Zoran's heart blazed brightly, overwhelming the dark dragon's flames. The dark dragon fled, and Zoran stepped forward, his heart calm and steady. The Heartstone glowed even brighter, acknowledging his strength and wisdom. Zoran placed his hand upon it, feeling the warmth spread through him. The Heartstone did not tame his flames, it made them a part of him, a source of strength and peace. When Zoran returned to Drakoria, the land seemed different. The other dragons no longer feared him, the elves no longer avoided him, and the fairies no longer whispered behind his back. He had proven that his heart, though fiery, could be a force for good. Zoran's journey had not only given him control over his flames but had shown him the true meaning of strength. It wasn't in the fire itself, but in the heart that guided it. And from that day on, Zoran was no longer the dragon with the fiery heart, he was the dragon who brought warmth and light to Drakoria, a protector of the realm. In the heart of Aeloria, nestled between the tallest mountains and the deepest valleys, lay the elven kingdom of Lyrolith. For centuries, the elves had lived in peace, their magic flowing through the land like a vibrant river. They had protected the forests, the creatures, and the balance of nature itself. The elves were as old as the stars, and their connection to the world was unbreakable. But over time, something began to change. The once glistening leaves of the great trees started to wither. The rivers no longer sparkled with the magic of the elves. A deep, unsettling quiet filled the air as the land seemed to lose its vitality. The elves, wise as they were, could feel that the heart of their kingdom was dying. Prince Phelan, the heir to the elven throne, stood at the balcony of his castle, gazing out over the kingdom he loved so dearly. His emerald green eyes, usually bright with hope, now looked troubled and heavy. "What has happened to us, Father?" he whispered to the empty air. The elven king, Eldrinor, appeared behind him, his face lined with worry. "We have grown too complacent, Phelan. Our magic is fading, and we do not know why. There are whispers in the wind of a forgotten prophecy. A prophecy that may hold the key to saving our people." Phelan turned toward his father, his heart heavy with the weight of his responsibilities. "Tell me more, Father." "The prophecy speaks of a hidden source of magic," Eldrinor explained. "It is said to be deep within the heart of the ancient forest, where the first elves once gathered their power. But the path to it is lost, and only those with pure hearts and great bravery can find it." Phelan nodded. "Then I shall go. I will find this magic, and I will restore our kingdom." Eldrinor placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "It will not be easy, my son. The forest is full of dangers, and the trials you will face will test your very soul. But you must go, for the future of our people depends on it." The journey to the ancient forest was treacherous, but Phelan was determined. He ventured into the dense woods, his elven senses alert to every sound. The trees whispered to him, but the magic that had once been so strong was now fading into silence. As he ventured deeper into the forest, he was not alone. He soon encountered Alicia, a rogue elf who had once been part of the kingdom but had turned away from her people long ago. She was known for her wild ways and rebellious spirit, yet her sharp eyes and quick wit had earned her a place among the kingdom's greatest warriors. "What are you doing here, Prince Phelan?" Alicia asked, her voice a mixture of sarcasm and curiosity. "I am on a quest to restore our magic," Phelan replied. "I need your help." Alicia's eyes narrowed. "My help? You want help from a rogue elf? Why not ask the others who still cling to their old ways?" Phelan's face softened. "I believe you are the only one who can help me. The prophecy speaks of someone with the courage to venture where others fear to tread. I think that someone is you." Alicia sighed, her fingers grazing the bough slung over her back. "Fine. But don't think for a moment that I'm doing this for the kingdom. I'm doing this for myself." Together, Phelan and Alicia journeyed further into the heart of the forest. They encountered strange creatures, both magical and dangerous, but they were undeterred. As they reached the center of the forest, the air grew thick with ancient power. There, they met Lila, a fairy with wings like shimmering silver leaves, who claimed to be the guardian of the forest's magic. Lila could see visions of the future, and she spoke in riddles. "You are close, Prince Phelan," Lila said, her eyes glowing with the light of the stars. "But the path is not what it seems. You must first face your own heart. Only then will the magic reveal itself." Phelan was confused. "What do you mean?" "I am ready to do whatever it takes to restore our magic." Lila's smile was both kind and cryptic. "The forest tests not just your strength, but your soul. You will face trials that will force you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your greatest weaknesses. Only when you overcome them will the magic come to you." The first trial was a test of courage. Phelan found himself standing before a great chasm, the depths of which seemed to stretch into eternity. A bridge of light appeared before him, but as he stepped onto it, the light flickered and wavered. The winds howled, and Phelan felt a deep sense of fear creeping into his heart. Could he trust the bridge? Would it hold him? Alicia, ever the skeptic, stood behind him. "You're not really thinking about jumping, are you?" Phelan took a deep breath, recalling the lessons his father had taught him. He had always believed that a leader must face his fears head-on. With that resolve, Phelan stepped forward, trusting the magic of the forest. As he crossed the bridge, the light grew brighter, and his fear faded. The second trial was a test of wisdom. Phelan and Alicia found themselves in a labyrinth of thorny vines, each path leading them deeper into the heart of the forest. The vines twisted and turned, creating illusions that seemed to lead them astray. Phelan had to rely on his knowledge of the ancient elven ways to decipher the true path. "Trust your heart, Prince," Alicia said, her voice soft. "Follow what you know, not what the forest wants you to see." With her words, Phelan remembered the teachings of his ancestors and realized that the true path was one of patience and understanding, not haste. They found their way to the center of the labyrinth, where a crystal pulsed with the magic of the forest. The final trial was a test of sacrifice. Phelan was asked to give up something precious in order to unlock the final power of the forest. As he approached the crystal, he realized that to restore the magic of the kingdom, he would need to give up his claim to the throne. "You must let go of your desire for power, Prince Phelan," Lila said. "Only then will the forest's magic flow freely once again." Phelan's heart ached as he thought of his father and his people. But he knew in his soul that the magic of the forest was not something that could be owned or controlled. It was meant to be shared, to be protected. With a deep sigh, Phelan relinquished his claim to the throne and allowed the crystal to absorb his essence. The forest trembled with a renewed energy as the magic flowed back into the land, restoring life to the trees, the rivers, and the creatures of the kingdom. Phelan returned to his people, not as a prince who sought to rule, but as a protector of the land. The kingdom of Lyrolith flourished once more, its magic stronger than ever. The elves, the humans, and all the creatures of Eldoria recognized that the true power was not in the throne, but in the heart that cared for the land. Alicia, once a rogue elf, chose to stay by Phelan's side, becoming a trusted advisor. Lila, the fairy, continued to guide the forest with wisdom, and the magic of the elven kingdom bloomed once again. And so, the kingdom of Lyrolith thrived, its true magic now flourishing not in the power of a single ruler, but in the unity of all who called it home. In the heart of Eldoria, nestled between rolling hills and misty lakes, lay the Moonlit Glade, a realm of eternal twilight where fairies danced under the silver light of the moon. Here, Flowers bloomed with colors unseen by mortal eyes, and streams sparkled like liquid stars. The Fairies of Moonlit Glade guarded the balance of nature, tending to each leaf, each ripple of water, and every creature that called the forest home. Yet something dark had begun to creep into the glade. A strange mist settled over the land, chilling the fairies to their core. Their wings grew heavy, their magic weakened, and the once lively glade fell silent as if a shadow had swallowed it whole. Queen Seraphina, the wise and gentle ruler of the fairies, sensed the disturbance and knew that this was no ordinary trouble. She stood by the pool of crystal water, gazing into its depths, hoping to find answers. The water glowed faintly, revealing a vision of an ancient darkness stirring at the edges of their world, a creature long forgotten, returning to claim what it had once sought to destroy. Seraphina knew she could not face this threat alone. She called upon Solarian, a fire dragon known for his courage and strength, and Thander, a solitary elf who had long protected the forest's borders. Something dark approaches, a force older than the trees themselves, Seraphina said, her voice filled with worry. It threatens to consume the magic of the glade. I need your help to protect our home. Solarian's fiery eyes blazed with determination. If there is darkness, then my flames will light the way. Thander nodded solemnly. I have watched over the borders for many years, my queen. I will stand with you. As they gathered their strength, a young fairy named Mira watched from the shadows. She was small, with wings like delicate leaves and a heart full of dreams of heroism. Though she was untested in battle, Mira felt a calling deep within her soul, a desire to prove her worth and protect her home. Queen Seraphina led Solarian, Thander, and Mira through the heart of the moonlit glade, where the mist thickened with each step. Shadows twisted around them, and the air grew colder, as if all warmth had been drained from the land. This mist is unnatural, Solarian muttered, his scales flickering with embers. It dampens even my flames. Seraphina nodded. It is a magic unlike any I have seen. It saps the energy from all who come near it. We must hurry. Mira flew alongside them, her wings fluttering nervously. She had never ventured this far into the glade, and the dark mist frightened her. But her determination outweighed her fear, and she followed her queen with a brave heart. As they ventured deeper into the glade, they came upon an ancient stone circle, overgrown with vines. Seraphina placed a hand on one of the stones, and a faint glow emanated from it, revealing ancient runes. These stones were placed here to protect the glade, Seraphina said softly. But their power is weakening. The darkness has found a way to break our defenses. Thander, his sharp eyes scanning the shadows, turned to the queen. Who or what could be powerful enough to shatter the ancient wards of the glade? Seraphina looked at her companions, her expression grave. Long ago, a dark spirit called Morghath sought to claim the magic of the glade for himself. We sealed him away in the Forgotten Vale, a place where no light could reach. But it seems he has found a way to escape. Solarian's eyes narrowed. Then we must go to the Forgotten Vale and seal him once more. The journey to the Forgotten Vale was perilous. They traveled through tangled forests, across cold rivers, and up mountains shrouded in mist. The air grew colder as they neared the vale, and Mira could feel the weight of dread pressing upon her tiny wings. The Forgotten Vale was a desolate place, devoid of color or life. The sky was a constant gray, and the ground was covered in a thin layer of frost. At the center of the vale stood a massive, ancient tree, twisted and blackened, with roots that seemed to claw at the earth. Seraphina approached the tree with caution. This is where Morghath was imprisoned. The seal we placed upon him is breaking. As they circled the tree, a chill filled the air, and from the shadows emerged Morghath. He was a creature of darkness, with hollow eyes and a form that seemed to shift like smoke. His voice was a whisper, cold and menacing. "You cannot keep me bound forever, fairies," Morghath hissed. "The magic of the glade will be mine." Solarian stepped forward, his flames flickering defiantly. "You will not harm the glade. Not while we stand." Morghath's laughter echoed through the vale. "Your fire is weak here, dragon. The darkness will consume you all." Myra's heart raced as she watched her companions prepare for battle. She wanted to help, but fear held her back. She was just a small fairy, how could she stand against such a powerful enemy? The battle began with a clash of fire and shadow. Solarian unleashed a torrent of flames, but Morghath's darkness absorbed the light, snuffing out the fire like a candle. Thander fired arrows imbued with elven magic, each one striking true, but the dark spirit shrugged them off as if they were nothing more than twigs. Seraphina channeled the magic of the glade, summoning beams of light that struck Morghath, but he only grew stronger. "Your light is nothing against me," he sneered. As her companions struggled, Mira felt a spark ignite within her. She remembered the tales she had heard of a magic deep within the glade, a magic that no dark force could withstand. It was a magic born not of power, but of purity and light. Summoning all her courage, Mira flew to Seraphina's side. "Queen Seraphina, there's something I must try." Seraphina looked at the young fairy, her eyes filled with both worry and hope. "Be careful, Mira. Morghath is not to be underestimated." Mira nodded, her wings shimmering as she concentrated on the light within her heart. She thought of the beauty of the glade, the warmth of her home, and the love she felt for her friends. As she focused, a radiant glow surrounded her, filling the veil with a light that seemed to push back the darkness. Morghath recoiled, hissing in fury. "What is this magic?" Myra's voice was strong and clear. "This is the magic of the glade, Morghath. It is a magic you cannot take, because it belongs to all of us." The light grew brighter, filling every corner of the veil. Solarian's flames blazed to life, Thander's arrows glowed with renewed strength, and Seraphina's magic flowed freely once more. Together, they directed their powers toward Morghath, who shrieked as the light enveloped him. With one final burst, Myra's light shattered Morghath's form, dispersing his darkness into nothingness. The veil grew silent, the shadows dissipating as the light returned. With Morghath defeated, the magic of the moonlit glade returned stronger than ever. The mist lifted, the flowers bloomed, and the stream sparkled once more. The fairies regained their strength, and their wings shimmered with renewed energy. Queen Seraphina gathered her companions and looked at Mira with pride. "You have proven that true magic does not come from power alone, but from a heart filled with light. You are a hero, Mira." Mira blushed, her wings fluttering with joy. She had finally proven herself, not just to her queen, but to herself. Solarian and Thander both bowed to the young fairy, acknowledging her bravery. "You've reminded us all of what it means to protect the glade," Solarian said with a proud smile. From that day forward, Mira was known as the Fairy of Light, a guardian of the moonlit glade who had shown that even the smallest among them could shine the brightest. And as she danced under the moonlight with her fellow fairies, Mira knew that the magic of the glade would live on in every heart that called it home. And so, in the enchanted lands of Drakoria, Aeloria, and Eldoria, the magic of light and goodness triumphed over every shadow. Each story brought a valuable lesson. In the first story, we learned that courage and determination in the face of challenges can change one's destiny. The young knight showed us that even impossible dreams can come true when we're willing to fight for them. His loyalty and sacrifice teach us that in our own lives, we can face our fears and grow stronger through them. In the second story, the Elven prince realized that true wisdom comes from putting others' needs before one's own. His choice to renounce the throne to save his kingdom shows us the importance of humility and selflessness. Sometimes, the greatest act of leadership is sacrificing something important to protect what is right and precious. In the third story, the young fairy Mira discovered that even the smallest among us hold an inner light capable of overcoming darkness. Mira reminds us that, no matter how small or insignificant we may feel, each of us has the power to bring hope and goodness to others. Her inner light symbolizes the strength we all carry within. These stories remind us that we can all find a bit of magic in the real world by learning to be courageous, wise, and kind. Unity, respect, and generosity are values that can inspire us to make our world a better place. Remember, like our heroes, you too can make a difference, bringing magic and positivity into the lives of others.